Well, here I am at about 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning, getting into the water for my first paddle in over 2 months, having just recovered from a broken rib and then a broken collarbone. I'm departing just at the end of my street on Raglan Road, where Omans Creek meets the Assiniboine River, and I'm going to paddle to Whittier Park, where Deanna has a 7 a.m. cyclocross training session. So I'm downriver the whole way, going through to the end of the Assiniboine River, and then past the forks, up the Red a little bit until I hit the Seine. So I think I'll start to paddle a little more aggressively, and we'll stop periodically as I head downstream to catch a few more images of what it's like to paddle through the city on the Assiniboine. This is definitely one of the nicer properties on Wellington Crescent. I'd estimate the back lot spans maybe 300 feet or so at least. My guess is the house itself is about 10,000 square feet. They have a full-size basketball court in the backyard. They have a creek actually meandering through the property, originating and returning to the Assiniboine River that I'm floating on. They have a guest suite that I would guess is 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. Not a bad property. This is a neat sight line. I always enjoy turning the bend in the river and finding this. As we look down the river to the next bend, you can actually see the first signs of our legislative grounds with the golden boy on top. And then a little closer in the foreground is the very top of the Misericordia Hospital with the glowing red cross on the very top of it. Take a night paddle here. All of this is dark, of course, except for the illuminated golden boy at the top of the legislative ground and that neon red cross. So it makes for a striking image as you paddle down at night. This is also an area where at night I've encountered a number of bats on more than one occasion. So it's a bit of an eerie setting. You have bats that kind of swoop down at you as they try to figure out what your paddles are doing. And you've got that red glowing cross in the background, or the foreground, I guess. Well, we've just got under the Maryland Bridge and said goodbye to Wolseley, though Wellington Crescent is still on our right side. And from here on in, things start to get a little more urban. You can see some condominiums popping up on the riverbank. Not a lot else to see here, but I thought I'd point out that this area of brush that we're looking at now is actually a park that's across the street from Mom and Dad, who are on Wellington Crescent. If you look up here where the river disappears around another corner, that's actually where a river walk is cleared from the snow and ice in the winter, and you can skate down a flooded rink from here through to the forks where the Assiniboine meets the Red, and there's also a walking path. Dad has actually taken to sometimes in the winter walking on the river along that path to work downtown. It definitely beats rush hour traffic. Well, we've made it close to the heart of downtown. If I pan over here, you can see that we've arrived at the legislative grounds. I think that we have a pretty good legislative property from the street side, but I think most people miss what it looks like from the riverside. And from the legislative ground, in fact, from a little bit before the legislative ground, there's a walking path that takes you the rest of the way to the forks. So we'll follow that path and then head up a little bit along the Red to the Seine. Back on the water this morning. Usually isn't. But I just passed a kayaker and now we have a rower coming up. I think kayaking is a beautiful sport, but Nothing matches the beauty of rowing on the water. Well, under the glaring sun, we've reached the forks. This is often a destination for me and for Deanna. It typically takes us about 45 minutes to paddle down to the forks, but can take the better part of 2 hours to paddle upstream back home. Not a lot of people at the forks right now. It's still just about 7:30 in the morning. I imagine that'll change as the day carries on. But today I'm continuing downstream to where we see the red just in the distance, and then down the red a little bit until we get to the Seine and to Whittier Park, where hopefully I'll find Deanna. And just coming up to the Salisbury House restaurant that spans the Red River. Head under that bridge and then approach the downtown skyline, and then we'll almost be at our destination. I think this is the last bridge that I go under. It's a train bridge leading right to downtown. See the skyline in the distance. And we pan back down the river. It'll be just around that corner that hopefully I can find my wife. Well, I think I've reached the end of my destination. There's a dock that I found very near, or just at the end of Whittier Park. I haven't quite reached the Seine yet, so I don't know exactly where Deanna's going to be waiting for me. And unfortunately, I've just noticed that my cell phone battery has died, so I can't connect with her. So this might mean the end of the trip. I'll climb up on the dock and see what I see. Alright, well, I've just docked and walked up the bank of it, and who did I find but my wife. So it looks like I've got a ride home. So this will be the final shot of the day. Deanna has helped me get the boat up to the car, and we're gonna pack up and head home. This is an easy trip. No going upstream, just downstream today. And maybe now out for some coffee.